In the grand tapestry of horse racing history, three stallions stand at the dawn of thoroughbred bloodlines: the Darley Arabian, the Godolphin Arabian, and the Byerley Turk. While the Darley Arabian's line has dominated modern racing, the Byerley Turk, despite his foundational influence, is often relegated to the shadows of historical memory. However, a deep dive into his legacy reveals a story of war, resilience, elite equine traits, and a lasting impact not just on the thoroughbred, but on several prominent horse breeds across the globe. The Byerley Turk, a warhorse turned stud, carries with him a tale as gripping and as essential to equine history as any champion on the track. The Byerley Turk's early life is enshrouded in uncertainty. Foaled around 1680, his precise breeding is unknown, though he was long considered an Arabian due to his conformation, elegance, and stamina. Yet his origins might have been Turkish, Persian, or even a blend of Middle Eastern bloodlines. At the time, horses from the Ottoman Empire, especially those called Turks, were often noted for their Arabian and Persian ancestry, lending credibility to various origin theories. The most common belief is that he was captured during a pivotal historical clash, the Battle of Buda in 1686, or possibly the Battle of Vienna in 1683, both fought between Christian European forces and the Ottoman Turks. In either case, the stallion was taken as a prize of war and became the property of Captain Robert Byerley, a cavalry officer in King William III's army. Byerley brought the stallion to Ireland during the Williamite War in 1689. There, the horse served not merely as a showpiece, but in active military duty. The General Stud Book records simply that he was Captain Byerley's charger in Ireland, but anecdotes from the time describe a horse of astonishing speed and bravery, reportedly saving his rider from capture during a reconnaissance mission. A stallion born for battle, he was defined as much by courage as by beauty. Described as either black or dark brown, the Byerley Turk stood out among European horses of the day. He was notably larger and longer-bodied than many of his Arabian contemporaries, which suggested a Turkish or Persian lineage. He exuded elegance, strength, and alertness, qualities that not only served him well on the battlefield, but later influenced his offspring. Despite the lack of breeding records, early sources agreed on his distinct look and strong constitution. Even without formal documentation, his appearance and temperament strongly marked his progeny, leaving an unmistakable stamp on subsequent generations. After marrying his cousin Mary Wharton in 1692, Captain Byerley retired from military service and settled at Goldsborough Hall in North Yorkshire. There, the Byerley Turk transitioned from warhorse to stallion. Initially standing at Midridge Grange, he was moved to Goldsborough Hall in 1697. He remained there until his death in 1703 and is believed to be buried on the estate, which today commemorates him with a suite named in his honor. Unlike the Darley Arabian and the Godolphin Arabian, the Byerley Turk did not have access to an abundance of elite broodmares. Nevertheless, his impact as a sire was profound. Though he bred relatively few well-bred mares, he sired a lineage that would ripple through centuries of racing and even shape multiple horse breeds. The Byerley Turk's most influential son was Jig, a bay colt born around 1701. While of modest racing ability, Jig sired Partner, who became one of the most important early sires in England. Partner fathered Tartar, whose line led to Herod, a stallion of monumental significance in thoroughbred history. Herod would go on to become the leading sire in Great Britain and Ireland from 1777 to 1784, and the founder of a sire line that would include multiple champions. Other notable sons included Black Harty, a black colt famed in his time and owned by Sir George Fletcher; Basto, a strong match racer between 1708 and 1710, who sired Old Ebony, a foundation mare of family number 5. But it was through his daughters that the Byerley Turk may have left his most enduring legacy. While many of their names have been lost, they became the root of some of the most prolific female families in thoroughbred history. Family 1, originating from the Byerley Turk mare out of the Tarfolet Barb mare, includes horses like Frankel and has produced over 30 Derby winners. Family 3, tracing to the dam of the Two True Blues, has produced 25 Derby and 20 St. Leger winners. Family 8, including the legendary Nijinsky, and several others, continue to be relevant in global racing. These families are testament to the genetic power passed down through the mare lines, a form of influence often overshadowed by focus on male line descent. The sire line from the Byerley Turk endured for centuries, but has dwindled significantly in modern thoroughbred racing. After Herod, the line persisted through a chain of influential sires. Herod sired Highflyer, Florizel, and Woodpecker. While Highflyer's line dominated late 18th century racing, it eventually faded. Florizel sired Diomed, the first Derby winner who later became a foundation sire in America. His son, Sir Archie, became the first sire of sires in the U.S., with descendants like Lexington, who dominated American racing for decades. Buzzard, from Woodpecker, sired Salim, who led to Sultan, then to Bay Middleton, and eventually to Xar, a two-time Arc de Triomphe winner in the early 20th century. Xar's son, Tourbillon, was a dominant sire in France and kept the line alive through sons Jebel and Coaraz. Jebel in particular carried the torch into the late 20th century through two sons, Clarion and Mai Babu. Clarion led to Clairon, whose son Luthier and descendant Ahonora spawned lines still technically active through Indian Ridge, Indian Rocket, and Compton Place. Mai Babu produced lines that included Cirrus des Aigles, a Group 1 winner, though as a gelding, he could not continue the line. His influence, however, endures through stallions like Bulletin in Australia. Despite this extensive heritage, the male line descendants of the Byerley Turk have steadily declined. As of 2023, only a few stallions, Captain Chop, France, Pearl Secret, Japan, Indian Haven, Ireland until 2023, and Bulletin, Australia, represent the last known remnants of the Byerley Turk sire line in thoroughbred racing. A minor unnamed descendant in South America was also reported in 2021, but is not widely used in breeding. One of the most famous modern representatives of the Byerley Turk sire line came not from the racetrack, but from show jumping. Gem Twist, a champion jumper, descended directly from the Byerley Turk sire line and won accolades across the globe. Though Gem Twist was a gelding, scientists successfully cloned him, producing two clones who have since sired foals. However, due to thoroughbred registry rules requiring natural procreation, these offspring cannot be considered thoroughbreds. Still, the cloning of Gem Twist represents a unique attempt to preserve a legacy, albeit outside the conventional boundaries of racing regulation. While the Byerley Turk's influence in the thoroughbred world may be waning, his genetic legacy is far from over. In fact, his impact is arguably even greater in other American breeds. Diomed's descendants helped shape the American quarter horse and standard bred, both now dominant breeds in their own right. Sir Archie, through Diomed, was a foundational stallion in the U.S. whose legacy extends across American turf and breeding programs. Denmark, a descendant of the Byerley Turk line, is the foundation sire of the American saddlebred. Justin Morgan, the stallion from which the Morgan horse breed derives, also traces back to the Byerley Turk line. These breeds are thriving today, their numbers and influence far outpacing that of the modern Byerley Turk thoroughbred line. Thus, while racing aficionados mourn the dwindling line within the Jockey Club's registries, the Byerley Turk's blood still gallops across fields, arenas, and shows worldwide. Though often overlooked in favor of the more prolific Darley Arabian, the Byerley Turk was the first of the three great foundation stallions of the thoroughbred breed. His bravery on the battlefield, coupled with his stamina, elegance, and speed, helped shape a horse that became as vital to the history of equine sport as any champion bred since. His influence can be traced not only through prestigious lines like Herod and Diomed, but also through the foundational mares of major thoroughbred families. Furthermore, his genetic presence persists strongly in the American quarter horse, Morgan, and saddlebred breeds, ensuring his legacy remains vital even as the classic sire line faces extinction. In a sense, the Byerley Turk is the great-grandfather not only of racehorses, but of American horse culture itself. His story is one of transformation, from war to peace, from Ireland to Yorkshire, from the battlefield to the breeding shed. And though his name is now often spoken in hushed tones among historians and breed experts, his blood still courses through the veins of champions. To truly understand the modern horse, one must remember the Byerley Turk, not just as a stallion of the past, but as an enduring force in the living history of the horse.